Derek Overstreet, founder of the New Millennium Group. We're a financial planning firm. We have advisors standing by right now to take your call. 888-999-6370. The reason you're going to want to call is we're going to help you retire 3 to 5 years before you thought possible. The way we do this is by putting together a step-by-step plan. So if you're one of those people listening and you'd like a plan in writing, give us a call at 888-999-6370. That's 888-999-6370, or go to utahsfinancialplanner.com.
Some of the most meaningful jewelry you own isn't new. It's inherited. A ring from a grandmother, a necklace full of memories, but no longer your style. Duke's Jewelers reimagines family heirlooms into custom pieces you'll actually wear and love. Working one-on-one, Duke's designers honor the original story while creating something fresh and modern. Don't let meaningful jewelry sit unused. Let it live on beautifully. Visit Duke's Jewelers in Springville or online at dukesjewelers.com, where old stories become new treasures.
Believe it or not, this guy actually has friends.
Nice.
This is Scotty G and Friends on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Welcome into Scotty G and Friends here on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. I am not Scotty. I'm putting the friends in the friends portion of this program. I'm Jake Hatch. Scotty will be here shortly. We are live today at Tim Dolly Mazda down here at the Southtown Auto Mall. Feel free to stop on by 10785 South Auto Mall Drive. Love to see you guys if you're out and about this afternoon. And of course, Scotty G and Friends brought to you by our friends over at Mountain Land Supply, where the pros go for plumbing, landscaping, irrigation, agricultural irrigation, HVAC parts, tools, and safety equipment. Find a location near you at mountainland.com. Always excited to be out here at Tim Dolly. They have been absolutely awesome to this show over the years, and obviously they're the best when it comes to handling your vehicle needs. So we're going to kick off today's show with an exclusive conversation that Scotty G had with Utah State men's basketball coach Ben Jacobson. Now, he was formally introduced earlier this morning. We carried that press conference live on DJ and PK, and afterwards, Scotty caught up with Coach Jacobson to get a feel for his new tenure as the new head coach of the Utah State Aggies. They have turned over these coaches pretty quickly over the last decade, but have had a lot of success, and I don't think that Coach Jacobs has any illusions of not continuing that success. So here you go. Scott Gerard with new Utah State men's basketball coach, Ben Jacobson.
All right, Coach. Welcome to Logan. How are you?
I'm great. Thanks, Scott. The excitement is it's real. It's a real thing. You can feel the energy around here, and so we feel great about our decision to be here, and can't wait to get started. See the guys this afternoon and get started.
What's this process like for you? I know that there's been a lot of teams that have made some overtures to you in the past, but what was this one like in terms of like, okay, that's where I want to sink my teeth into?
Yeah, it really the timing of it, and came down to timing on two fronts. What Utah State has done and the position we're in heading into the new Pac-12 and what that means and the vision that Cam and President Mortensen have for Utah State right now. Right? So everything that the basketball program has done, Coach Morrill, and we could go through the coaches, we could go through the players. I've known about that for a long time. So to have that line up timing-wise with what Don and I have going in our personal life with Hunter and Tanner. They're at 22 and 20 years old. Hunt just finished. Is going to finish his schoolwork. He's going to student teach in the fall. Tanner's a sophomore over at Nebraska. Very different than when they're 5 and 7, or when they're 13 and 15. Like whatever the years matched up. So all of a sudden, those two things just stacked up. Utah State and everything that's been going on here for a long time, and the excitement and energy going into the new Pac-12, and the people with Cam, his team, the president, the players that are on this team. It just hit when Don and I were in a place personally that it made sense to leave a place that we love.
I talked to an assistant coach at a P4 school, and he goes, I can't get a sniff at that job because of the amount of people that want it and where it's elevated. He goes, maybe 6-7 years ago I would have had a shot at it, but not now. There was a lot of competition for this job just simply because of where this program's been elevated to as of late.
Yeah, no question. I would imagine that that Cam was fielding calls from anybody and everybody with a coach that would certainly be interested in this job. And I that there's a couple pieces to that, Scott. One, the excitement that I touched on, but how proud I am to be our head coach. knowing what you just asked and what you just said. That fills me with a tremendous amount of pride. And I know with that comes a responsibility, right? And the bar is high. Fortunately, we've been in this situation where the bar is high. I love that part of it. That part that gets me going. Every single day. So we're going to thrive in knowing where those expectations are. Right, we're not going to shy away from them. But I take a tremendous amount of pride in the faith that Cam is showing to me right now to be the guy. Out of everyone that had interest in this job.
There is a lot of times when you take over a program, you're taking over a program because the coach had been let go before. And so you've got to rebuild and you've got to build from the ground up. Here it's a different thing where you've got, okay, this is the expectation, bare minimum NCAA tournament. Now they've gotten a taste of round one victories. Now people are talking about Sweet 16s. What kind of a different mindset do you have as opposed to taking over a program what may be struggling and you're trying to build it from scratch?
Yeah, it's it's a great question. I've been in that situation as an assistant coach. When Greg McDermott got the job at Northern Iowa in 2001, we had to do the second part of what you just described. We had to get it going, right? And fortunately, we were able to in year three. But since 2004, that would have been year three for Mac and for our staff at that time. The expectation has been we went to the NCAA tournament. We got beat in the first round, but immediately, all right, the expectation is that we get NCAA tournament. So I've been navigating that part of it since 2004 as an assistant. And then in 2010, when you break through and you get to the Sweet 16, everything we talked about, everything I've talked about as a head coach and I talked about it in the press conference today, like there's another weekend. And there's another weekend. So we've been operating that way, right? With whether it be our fans, our closest supporters, our community, our campus, when we were recruiting players, it's everything we've been talking about. Everything I've been talking about for 15 years now, since 2010. So that part really lines up, and I get excited about that. Hey, that the minimum of what's happened here recently and for a long time is the NCAA tournament, right? I'm excited about that. More excited about what's after that. Okay, can we knock down that next door?
Speaking of the Sweet 16, I don't know if you faced off as head coaches, but how crazy is it going to be as a conference opponent looking over and seeing Allie there at Colorado State?
Yeah, that's going to be different, man. Really proud of him. The opportunity to be together when he was playing, and we had 2 magical years. And I don't use that term lightly. We won all 4 titles, regular season and conference tournament, in the NCAA tournament both times, and obviously winning 2 games when he's a senior, and playing in the Sweet 16. So our relationship and our bond, if you will, but our relationship is built on 2 big time years of basketball. It as I told everybody today and told the guys, our relationship has nothing to do with hoops, but when you're doing that for 2 years, right? So I was now able to go down and be at his press conference last year, and excited to be there, and just really proud of him. Now we're going to have to play against each other twice.
Yeah,
and we're going to probably recruit a couple of the same guys and go head to head. That's going to be okay. Right? It's not as much fun. When Mac was the head coach at Iowa State, and I was our coach at Northern Iowa, we played played against each other, and it's different, and it's not as much fun as all the other games. But the competitive part of it doesn't change.
Yeah,
I got a job to do at Utah State, and Ali's got a job to do at Colorado State. But our relationship will not, it will not change.
All right, just as a NCAA tournament and basketball nerd, I've got to ask.
Yeah.
Did he have the green light to take that shot?
Absolutely.
Everybody across the country saw that. It's like, no, yes. Yeah.
I'm curious what you thought when he let it go.
Oh, I was like, what are you doing? Yeah. You got to pull that out. Take the foul.
Yeah. So the reason, the reason I can immediately say yes, the way that unfolded, when the ball got thrown up, when Kajot threw the ball up the sideline to Ali, there was one Kansas defender that was back. We had another player on the left side of the floor that was coming into the picture. And when that defender, because he was starting to move toward Ali as he caught it, but he felt our other player that was coming down the opposite side of the floor, and he started to back up a little bit because he felt that guy. as soon as he paused and started to back up, I thought, well, this is going to be interesting, because I knew he was going to shoot it.
Yeah.
So my only thought was, okay, it's going to be interesting, and right, it's all happening in live action.
Oh, yeah.
That's exactly what I'm thinking, and it didn't surprise his teammates, it didn't surprise the coaches, it didn't surprise. It may have surprised some of our fans, right? They're not at every practice, and they're not in all, but us as coaches and his teammates were not surprised.
So I know a coach in the Missouri Valley really well. He was an assistant here with Craig Smith, David Ragland.
Yeah.
And so I texted David, and I'm like, hey, what do you think of Ben? What are your thoughts? And I'm just going to read this verbatim, and you tell me what part of this you like the most. He's great. Love him. He's a great coach, down-to-earth person, incredible human being, but his teams will kick the hell out of you. I'll preface that a little bit. He'll do great there at Utah State.
Well, I appreciate that, Rags. Very similar the way I feel about Rags. If I had to pick a part of that, it would be about being a good person. And I mentioned it in the press conference. Like not that I would want a choice, but I didn't have a choice. Mom and Dad weren't. It wasn't going to work. It wasn't going to work a different way, and I'm really happy for that. For my brothers and our sister and myself, that that's the way it was going to be. You're going to treat people. You're going to treat people well. You're going to be good to people, and because that's what we should be doing. Mm-hmm. It wasn't my mom and dad's idea. It's because that's what we should be doing. So that would be the part of what Rag said. I like that last part.
Yeah.
I like the last part, but not as much as we're gonna do the best we can to treat each other well and care about each other.
So when you build a team together, and obviously retention's huge, there's a lot of coaches, and you and I are roughly the same age. There's a lot of coaches that have been in this for decades that may be getting out because they don't like where it's at. They don't like the evolution of where college sports is right now. As a guy that's been in this for as long as you have it been hard to adapt to, and how do you feel like you and your staff have adapted to this new landscape?
Yeah, it was hard initially, right? And like everyone else, we had a decision to make. Are we going to continue to recruit high school players for us? That's been the backbone of our program, and it's going to be here at Utah State. Once we made that decision, right, and it'll be the same approach here. Things got kind of back to normal and got easier pretty quick. So our formula, guys, we're going to recruit the high school players out here, and they're going to know it, and that's where it's going to start. And then we have our season, right? And the most important people in the program are the players on our team, and we're going to work like crazy to help them feel good about coming back. Right? Retention, very important to me, and we've had success there. And then we'll use the portal when we need to. Right? But the first two, the recruiting high school players that understand what Utah State is about and want to be a part of it, and they're going to take a tremendous amount of pride in it. And then when the season's done, having real conversations, right? And retention, them understanding that them coming back is the most important thing. And then using that portal when we need to. And we've had – the portal's been very good to us. We haven't had very many guys go. Yeah. But we've had openings in the spring, and we attack it with the same formula that we're recruiting the high school players. Okay? We're not going out getting into bidding wars and this guy's wow, look, he averaged this, that. Like we're attacking it the same way. Okay, and good young guys and great families and going to care about each other. So we're attacking the portal the same way we attack the high school recruiting. So it's been good to us. We've added over the last 3 years some guys that have been great fits, and it's just been awesome.
When you recruit now, do you recruit to your system, or do you adapt your system to the guys that you recruit and bring in?
Yeah, so we're high skill level, very important to us. The competitive spirit, high care factor, being a great teammate, those working as well as we can to get a handle on that piece. It's so important to us that you're going to compete and you're going to fight for your teammates and for our university and for our fans, and then high skill level. So then after that, the offense may look a little different, this year than it did last year. The defense may look a little different, but the base stuff is going to be pretty similar in terms of recruiting that high skill level and guys with a high care factor, high competitive spirit. like that'll point us in the right direction.
How hard is it with the transfer portal to get a good evaluation on the character of a kid when everybody's, it's like the old Wild West. Everybody's trying to snag these kids as quickly as they can.
Yeah, it's challenging. But ours has been. I love it when it's somebody we've recruited the first time around, and they just happen to choose somewhere else, but we know them already. Okay, that's been a good part of the formula. Either the place they're playing at or people that have played against have been around them enough, right? Digging into that to get to that question that you asked, and then making sure we have the conversations, like sit down and see them eye to eye and say, okay, what do we want out of this, and doing that the best we can. So continue to do that research and not just having it be, so-and-so, these 3 or 4 schools, they really want him and it's this and this and this, and let's just jump in. We haven't done that. And I don't envision us doing that here at Utah State. Really important to me and the players on our team, right, and the people supporting us and our fans that we have a process and as to who and why they're coming to join us.
All right, one last question before I let you go, and I know you got a lot of people to talk to today. So you've got, regardless of wins or losses throughout the course of your time there at Northern Iowa, whether you've been really good or maybe back down to earth a little bit, you've always been an elite defensive rebounding team. Yeah. Is that something that you're able to recruit and identify, or can you teach coach defensive rebounding?
Yeah, every once in a while you're going to come across. We had Titan Anderson 2 years ago, and we knew he was going to get rebounds. He just was wired. He's going to fight you, and he's going to go get rebounds, and he's a warrior. Right? So you come across that in recruiting, and you see that piece of it, and you love it. But everybody, rebounding is a 5-person job. Everybody, point guard all the way through center, everybody's got to be involved in it. So I love that first piece when you come across and can recruit a guy like Titan Anderson, Carson. Yeah, he's going to rebound.
Oh yeah,
But everybody on the team has got to be involved in it. So it's a little bit of that, and you love it when you come across it. But it's more the day to day. We do it most every single day as part of our 15 to 18 minutes to start the practice. There's a few things we do defensively, offensively. Rebounding is a part of it almost every single day, and we're coaching it. You've got some control over it. Matt Painter is one that I hear talk about it a lot. Defensive rebounding and take care of the ball. If they're not getting offensive rebounds and you're not giving it to them, you're adding possessions to your side. And if you have more possessions than the other team and everything else is pretty equal, so defensive rebounding and taking care of that basketball. And sometimes I think people hear that and say, okay, well, it's going to be a slog them out and it's just going to be a slow. And it's not. You watch Purdue play, they don't play like that.
No.
And if you watch our Valley tournament when we were fully healthy, you watch those 3 games. Evansville game was a little slower. The 3 after that, that's the vibe. That's the vibe of the way we want to play here. And we're going to fight you for defensive rebounds, but it's not going to be a knockdown, drag out 47 to 46. That's not. We're going to get out and play a little bit.
Coach, I want to apologize in advance. You're going to get sick of me throughout the course of the season, so I'll let you go now. But we're going to have a good time. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yep.
There you have it. Ben Jacobson with Scott Gerard, and obviously looking forward to this new era with Utah State. I'm here with Jake from Tim Daly. And Jake, I know that Scotty's up in Logan a lot doing what he does with the Utah State Aggies, but yet another head coach, but the expectation is they're just going to keep rolling here. All right, more in a moment. Scotty G and Friends rolls on right here on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
This is Mike Boilo of Lexicon Valley.
And I'm Bob Garfield. Are you one of those people who sometimes uses words?
Do you communicate or acquire information with, language?
Hey, us too. So join us on Lexicon Valley to chew over the history, culture, and many mysteries of English, plus some wisecracks.
Find us on one of those apps where people listen to podcasts.
The sun's shining, birds are singing, and all feels right in the world.
Until the season changes, and suddenly you lose your motivation to get out of bed. In fact, 1 in 5 people experience some form of depression, no matter the season or time of year.
At the American Psychiatric Association Foundation, our vision is to build a mentally healthy nation for all, because we want you to live your best life and be your best you all year round.
Please visit mentallyhealthynation.org to learn more.
Hey, sweetie, your mother showed me this Carvana thing for selling the car. I'm going to give it a try. Wish me luck. Me again. I put in the license plate. It gave me an offer. Unbelievable. Okay, I accepted the offer. They're picking it up Tuesday from the driveway. I haven't even left my chair. It's done. The car is gone. I'm holding a check. Anyway, Carvana, give it a whirl. Love ya.
So good, you'll want to leave a voicemail about it. Sell your car today on Carvana. Pickup fees may apply.
You're locked on to Scotty G and Friends on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Welcome back to Scotty G and Friends here on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. I'm Jake Hatch. Scotty G will be here shortly, but it is time now to give away some Utah Jazz tickets. Hit it, Lloyd.
It's Jazz Ticket Tuesday, and your chance to win tickets is right now.
Call this number now.
Call this number now.
Be caller number 12 at 801-575-ZONE. 801-575-ZONE. And you'll be on your way to Delta Center to see the Utah Jazz.
He fires the three. He hits. Oh, don't do me like that.
This is 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Caller 12, 801-575-ZONE. That's 801-575-9663. You'll win a pair of tickets to watch the Utah Jazz and the Denver Nuggets tomorrow night. Nikola Jokic, Jamal Murray in town. Delta Center, 7 o'clock tip-off. Once again, be caller 12 right now. 801-575-ZONE. We'll get you squared away to go out and watch the Jazz in action tomorrow night. All right. So obviously there's a lot going on in the NFL world, and I know that the NFL just dominates headlines seemingly on a daily basis, but they have got their annual league meetings going on down in Arizona, and I don't know what to make of this story. So Aaron Glenn is the head coach of the New York Jets, and if there is a franchise that, in my opinion, is just moribund, never really going to, I feel like, find their way out of being the way that they have been, it is the Jets. Now, it has been a quarterback graveyard, for lack of a better term. Guys like Sam Darnold, Zach Wilson, and Geno Smith have all been drafted by the New York Jets, but had to go elsewhere to find success. And, well, Aaron Glenn thinks that the return of Geno Smith is going to make all the difference here for the Jets. And that's the insane part about this, is that he, at these NFL meetings, says that, quote, I just feel like he, speaking of Geno Smith, is the guy that's going to lead us to the promised land, unquote. And no offense to Aaron Glenn or to anybody with the New York Jets, but if Geno Smith is the guy you think is going to lead you to the promised land, I'm not sure you're setting yourself up for any sort of success. Now, Aaron Glenn came under fire last year. His first year with the New York Jets did not go according to plan. Justin Fields was a quarterback last year. Really never took off. He has since been traded to the Kansas City Chiefs, and I am very curious to see if what Aaron Glenn says here about him taking the Jets to the promised land can be true. And Lloyd, I think that you have a keen insight on this as a Raiders fan who just okay. Oh, sorry, Lloyd. But obviously his run, speaking of Geno Smith with the Raiders last year, not it. And obviously he had some success with the Seattle Seahawks, but there's a reason why these franchises have moved off Geno Smith, and that's that. The promised land. Here's the deal with the New York Jets and the promised land. I don't know if it's ever going to come to fruition. And we got good friends of the station, guys like Kevin Graham, who are diehard New York Jets fans. They're a glutton for punishment. Let's just be very blunt about that. And that one made me chuckle to see that pop up here. The other one coming out of this is that some of you might recall last season during the Jacksonville Jaguars and San Francisco 49ers game, we had Liam Cohen, the head coach of Jacksonville, and the then defensive coordinator of the 49ers, Robert Saleh, is now the new Tennessee Titans head coach. They had a big dust-up after the game over allegations of sign stealing in that game, and it got a little heated post-game. And according to both of them now, it's water under the bridge. Now, do I believe that? I don't necessarily think so, because these two guys are now both in the AFC South, and that will be the interesting deal to see if Saleh and Cohen can obviously coexist, considering they had that dust up last season. And these situations are always interesting to me, because coaches have long long memories. And when you're now rivals of one another, speaking of these head coaches, Lloyd, did you see this about Robert Saleh and Liam Cohen claiming that it's water under the bridge after their dust-up over sign-stealing allegations last year?
No, are you serious?
They claim that Saleh, we're good, unquote.
Okay, sure.
I just said, like, these coaches have long memories. These guys, they're not going to forget this. And the fact that they're both in the same division now, they're going to face each other twice a year. They're absolutely going to be gunning for one another, especially considering these are two guys. The 49ers where Saleh was working and the Jacksonville are two opposite coasts. And to have these two get together and to have that dust up, now you bring them in the same division. Yeah, this is not.
That's an interesting duo right there.
Yeah. I'm very curious to see what happens with this. Did you also see the rankings of the NFL coaches of photo? Like these people that are breaking down, like how these coaches are sitting and where they're standing in line.
You know what? They anything and everything. There is something to talk about every day, right? Am I right?
Well, yeah. Well, part of this was because Cohen and Saleh were on the back row of this. They had 13 coaches between them. And some people are like, see, they don't want to be anywhere near each other. And they're claiming it's all happenstance. I don't know. I just, this type of stuff makes me chuckle. And these NFL league meetings, obviously these coaches and GMs and the owners are all there. They're talking to the media. And I always wonder what is being said to the media versus what's happening in said meetings, how it all goes down. And Lloyd, I referenced earlier the situation with Geno Smith. Did you see the quote, another head coach, Aaron Glenn, saying that he thinks that Geno Smith is going to lead the New York Jets to the, quote, promised land?
Okay. Stop. I will, you know what? You know what? To a point, I understand why Geno sucked so bad with the Raiders because the offensive line was terrible. I get that. But he was next level bad. I don't even care what the offensive line, would have been. I just, his readings were bad. Everything he did was bad. His decision making was bad. His off the field antics were bad. Everything was. It was everybody. I've never seen somebody that was so. Not me. This is not my. I didn't do it. It's the offensive. Like that was a guy that would take no responsibility for anything. I mean, flipping the bird to fans. Like, come on, fans are upset that you've thrown like your 10th interception and it's only been 3 games. Like they're upset. They're mad. Yeah, I'd be a little bit grumpy too. Like I'm not saying the Raiders expected a playoff, but at least maybe a 7-win or 8-win season where you're in the ballpark of maybe it could happen, maybe. Yeah. But the thing is, he was terrible. He was a bad quarterback, and I don't know. I mean, I think he was. I don't know what the situation. Really, what changed from Seattle to the Raiders. Like I said, probably the offensive line a little bit, but that was a bad quarterback. He was terrible, and the fact that he ended up back with the Jets is comical.
Well, that's the thing about this.
He's not going to take him to the promised land. I'm just sorry. That's just not going to. Geno is who you drafted. He's the same guy. He hasn't changed. There's nothing that's changed. You might get an okay season out of him, once in a while. But Geno is Geno still. He's still going to make the same mistakes.
Yeah, he had a league high 17 interceptions last year for the Raiders, and this is a franchise that drafted him. And I already mentioned. They've had Sam Darnold. They've had Zach Wilson. They've had Geno. They've all drafted these quarterbacks who have gone on to move to other franchises and have some modicum of success. Obviously, Darnold by far the most, obviously winning that Super Bowl this past year. But to bring him back for a second tour of duty and to have Aaron Glenn, who's already kind of under the gun because it was not a good season for him last year with New York in his debut, to say that he's going to lead us to the promised land, it's like, it's just laughable. And
that's not happening.
We need to get Kevin Graham on the show and let
it's still the Jets, by the way. It's like saying when he gets to the Raiders, somebody saying he's going to lead us to the promise. No, you're right now until I start seeing a change. And don't get me wrong, I'm starting to get a little belief in my Raiders. Like, hey, maybe this could be our year. But still, at the end of the day, you're still the Raiders and you're still the Jets. And until something changes, you'll have to wait and see. But as of right now, no way. You're not leading the Jets to the promised land because nobody's leading that team to the promised land. That's just a bad team.
Yeah, it's the New York Jets.
When's the last time they went to the playoffs? Was it under Chad Pennington? Has it been that long?
Oh,
I feel like it's been a long time. I don't know. Maybe they've gotten there once.
Well, they did.
Sanchez
Yeah,
got there one time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then had a thing called the butt fumble.
The butt fumble, exactly.
If there's one thing in NFL history you don't want to be known for, that Mark Sanchez is, it's the butt fumble. So
I
Lloyd,
think he would take that ahead of what he's known for right now. He would take the butt fumble.
Yes, very true. Yes, obviously that was a horrific situation that he recently had, and obviously he's now persona non grata. Let's put it that way out there. Lloyd, speaking of the storylines involving the Las Vegas Raiders, did you see what Sashi Brown, the team president for the Baltimore Ravens, said about the rescinding the trade to send Max Crosby back?
What, did they feel terrible about it and they really wanted it to work?
Oh, no.
Oh.
They blamed it on a, quote, a slow news day, unquote, for the fallout that came from it.
Okay. No, that's not the case. No. You had all the information you wanted to. Somebody came in where you could save some money, and you know it's okay. That's what you did. You were a little bit bush league on how you went about it, and you pulled the rug underneath the Raiders, and that's fine. Maybe it was payback for stealing your center. Maybe that's what it was.
Maybe, but I also feel like it's him doing damage control, because he also went on to say that they don't believe that the relationships with other NFL teams in terms of doing deals going forward are going to be hurt in any way.
By the way, I know it's easy to say that and be like, oh man, you're not. Yeah. The thing is, if there's something worth trading, people are going to probably work with you. They will. They're not going to completely, but it will. I think it will hinder that a little bit with agents and them. I think it will a little bit to a point, but still, at the end of the day, if there's something worth trading and it's good for both sides, then it's probably going to happen. I think that'll go away. You won't really notice that.
I do wonder, just like with, you mentioned agents and whatnot, there's always going to kind of be that lingering thought in the back of anybody who deals with the Ravens going forward here is like, hey, could my guy be the next guy that gets screwed by them? As PK likes to say, there's no losers in pro sports. These guys are making millions upon millions of dollars. Like they're living a life that any one of us would like to have in terms of their compensation. But I do wonder at some level that if you do a deal with the Raiders and you're dealing with Sashi Brown or Eric DeCosta, who's their GM, you always have that thought in the back of your mind: ooh, are they gonna get us next? Are they gonna call us up and say, hey, by the way, we're no longer doing the deal? It always lingers out there. Final note real quick on the NFL front, Lloyd. Did you see the new rule changes that have been agreed to today?
Tell me about it.
All right, number one, you can now they have now allowed teams to declare an onside kick at any point during the game. Now, that obviously was not the case with the new kickoff rules since they were implemented. You can only do it in end of game scenarios. Now you can onside kick at any point. You can declare that. Next thing. You now have there used to be teams that would intentionally kick the ball out of bounds to gain an advantage when you were on the 50-yard line. And they're also changing the kickoff alignment requirements for the receiving team. These setup zones, you know about these new rules, Lloyd, in terms of the kickoff.
Right.
They're now going to allow teams to manipulate in terms of where players line up, it sounds like. So that'll be interesting to see how special teams coordinators how they deal with this, because it changes the special teams side of things. And then the biggest rule change, for 1 year only, they're allowing the NFL officiating department, so the league headquarters, to correct clear and obvious misses made by on-field officials that impact the game, and that is going to obviously be in the case of replacement officials being officially used this season. We want to avoid the incomplete calls and all that type of stuff. They're going to allow the league headquarters to change those calls on the field if they are forced to use the replacement refs. So,
do you like those the changes that are making?
The special team stuff is what it is. The kickoff rules have been in place for a while now. I'm just curious to see if we have
you know what? I don't know. I like back in the day when there was a lot more returns.
Well, and that's the funny thing is these kickoff rules are supposed to encourage that. And you already talked about. I mentioned like they want to get rid of the incentive to intentionally kick the ball out of bounds because they want to. Obviously, they don't want to return, so they're going to. So they're changing that. I am very curious to have the quote "eye in the sky." If they can really change calls in the middle of a game, that that could court some controversy, but that obviously is only in the event that they do end up having to use the replacement officials. And that will be very curious to see, because they're still negotiating with the NFL Referees Association. They've already started, apparently, start hiring college level officials to replace them. They're going to onboard them. And if things don't come to fruition by May, they're going to start getting them ready to be the replacement refs. And to have the league office, this is like, remember who was the guy, Lloyd, the Pac-12 headquarters that got involved? Woody Dixon. Is that who it was? The guy that was Woody walking Dixon into and was like influencing how calls were being made on the field in the Pac-12.
I think it was Woody Dixon. I think you're right.
Let's take it to the NFL level and have it league-wide. How about that? That could be, not trying to stir up controversy, but
of course you are trying to stir up controversy, Hatch.
Well,
Mr. Controversy.
We got the man, the myth, the legend has stopped on by.
I don't believe
Scotty
you.
G.
Hey, Lloyd.
Yeah,
I don't need this from you.
I don't believe you.
Made it down from Logan.
Hi, Lloyd. How are you?
Scott.
Hi, Jake.
How are you doing?
I'm great. No, we are ready to rock and roll. Sorry, thanks for holding down the fort.
Absolutely. Have you heard about these NFL, all these different things going on with the NFL league meetings we've been talking about?
Yeah, it's not good. I mean, what was it? When did they go replacements? Was it 2000?
It was 2012, if I recall.
Yeah, that went well.
Well, they have authorized rules. If they have to use it, they are going to have the league headquarters, like the home officiating office, be able to overturn obvious calls on the field. That'd be very interesting to see if that's what comes to fruition here with this.
Yeah. All right, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. All right, coming up next, what you may have missed. Also, we'll kick off your 1 o'clock hour. Coming up, we are live here at Tim Daly Mazda Southtown.
Oh, could this vintage store be any cuter?
Right? And the best part? They accept Discover.
Accept Discover? In a little place like this? I don't think so, Jennifer.
Oh, yeah, huh? Discover's accepted where I like to shop. Come on, baby, get with the times.
Right, so we shouldn't get the parachute pants?
These are making a comeback. I think.
Discover is accepted at 99% of places that take credit cards nationwide. Based on the February 2025 Nielsen report.
Hey, I'm Josh Spiegel, host of the podcast Lunatic in the Newsroom. If you enjoy journalism that drifts into mild panic, wild overthinking, and a guaranteed nervous breakdown, Lunatic in the Newsroom is for you. It's news like you've never heard before. The only newsroom with a panic button. You'll laugh, you'll cry, and gasp in horror as the show spirals completely out of control. It's not just news, it's emotionally unstable. Lunatic in the Newsroom. Listen today.
Mom, can you tell me a story?
Sure. Once upon a time, a mom needed a new car.
Was she brave?
She was tired, mostly. But she went to Carvana.com and found a great car at a great price. No secret treasure map required.
Did you have to fight a dragon?
Nope. She bought it 100% online. From her bed, actually.
Was it scary?
Honey, it was as unscary as car buying could be.
Did the car have a sunroof?
It did, actually.
Okay, good story.
Car buying you'll want to tell stories about. Buy your car today on
Carvana.
Delivery fees may apply.
Every day, the world gets a little weirder and a lot more awesome. Cool Stuff Daily takes a look at everything from mining in space to the latest in the fight against cancer to how AI is, well, basically changing everything. It's all the cool stuff you didn't know you needed to know. Join us for Cool Stuff Daily as we take a quick look at science, tech, and the wait, what stories that make you sound way smarter at dinner. Subscribe to Cool Stuff Daily now, because the future's happening fast, and it's way too fun to miss.
97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Believe it or not, this guy actually has friends.
Nice.
This is Scotty G and Friends on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Hey, it is a Tuesday, which means it's a Kurt Helin day. We'll chat with him coming up here in just a moment. Kurt Helin, NBC Sports, ProBasketballTalk.com. Big thanks to Jake Hatch hanging out. He is our designated, Lloyd said, you have to be Scott's friend for today. So I appreciate that.
Hey, I'm always honored to be your friend, Scotty. So happy to be here.
That's all right. You know, it's like my mom would always buy candy for the neighbor kids. Just like pretend like you're his friend for a day.
If you're Scotty's friend,
And don't tell him that I gave you any candy. Don't tell any of that. Just pretend like you like him for a day.
Hey, I'm happy to be here. Thanks for the invite. It's always good to hang out with you, and always good to hang out with Lloyd.
Well, okay, that last part's not true, but
It's always true. Come on.
It was interesting. Ben Jacobson introduced as a new head coach at Utah State, and we'll get to Kurt as soon as he's available. But I do think that it's an interesting hire for Utah State going that route. I had a really fun conversation with him. I kind of nerded out with him on the ollie shot.
Well, but as you should, because I would ask that same question. Did he have the green light? Because that's one of the more iconic shots in NCAA tournament history. Now, we just got one this past weekend, obviously, with what UConn did. But that one from Ali Ferokman, as she was now the head coach at Colorado State. It's crazy to see how things work out.
Well, okay. But, I mean, honestly, would you, as a coach, you're losing your mind. You run out the clock, take the foul, right?
No. And you're like, what are you doing?
Yeah. But he broke it down and said, nope, I was all for it. I liked it. And that's who he was as a player. So if you're an NCAA tournament historian and you like the big moments, you're going to want to listen to that conversation. Again, it'll be posted up on our podcasting feed. Just search Scotty G and you'll find it on whatever podcasting platform you decide to go with. All right. So NBA action with the Utah Jazz desperately trying to run this thing into the ground for just the final stretch of games. You do the math, and they desperately need to hold. They cannot fall any further up or down, however you want to call it. You like purple or blue? What's your
blue over here? I love me some mango.
See, we got to get the monsters, man. That's the Jake. That's the Jake.
He knows what's up.
Yeah. So when you look at this stretch of games coming up for the Jazz, I'm really excited to see if the commitment level's there to really running this thing into the ground.
Well, it is there.
Because it's got to be there. And the competition is going to allow you to do that.
The competition is going to allow you to do that, sure. Like Denver Nuggets tomorrow night, Nikola Jokic and Jamal Murray, just those two alone are enough to do the trick. But something that PK and I were talking about this morning is, Scotty, you look at the minutes that they're playing for the guys playing for the Jazz. He's talking about Kennedy Chandler's playing 40 minutes in these games. Meanwhile, Kyle Filipowski and Bryce Sensabaugh are playing 20 minutes. Bez Mbang is also playing 40 minutes. And PK's got a good point here, Scotty. Isn't that, more of an egregious, hey, we're absolutely, you mentioned running this around. We are tanking to tank. Like this isn't this more, in your opinion, fine-worthy from the NBA than what happened? And that's what we were discussing this morning. It's like, if Kennedy Chandler's playing 40 minutes, this will be the only time in his time playing in professional basketball, especially at the NBA level, he'll ever play 40 minutes, ever.
This just proves more, proves the fact that it wasn't that the Jazz were tanking, it was how they were tanking.
Yeah.
I mean, that's all it was, is that they let gamblers think the guys were going to play for a full game, and then they didn't. They pulled them in the fourth quarter. You probably had a lot of upset gamblers that had a fourth quarter prop bet or a second half prop bet or whatever the case is, and then they lost their minds because of it. And you had a couple of probably well-established sponsors that said, hey, that stuff can't fly anymore. And then they came in, and so the Jazz were like, fine, we'll do it your way. You want to just do it your way? Fine. We'll play this Joe Schmuckatelli 40 minutes.
And it's nothing against Kenny Chandler or Bez Mbang or any of these guys who are on these 10-day contracts. They're getting an opportunity at the NBA level, Scotty, but they are not the caliber of player that's going to help you win games. And watching last night's game, for example, there is no interior presence. I love Oscar Tshiebwe, but he is severely undersized on that front line for the Utah Jazz. Allows guys like Evan Mobley just to feast at the rim. And yeah, you talk about wanting to run this thing into the ground. It's not hard
to
watch how it's happening, because it's clearly evident.
I just think the margin of error, we talk about the margin of error of winning. The margin of error for losing is so razor thin.
Sure.
That is why you have to go all in on this, and that's why it's so important. But I was watching the meltdown that coaches are having with Oklahoma City, and the quick whistle they're getting and Shea's getting. If you want to talk about the integrity of the game, that's far worse.
Well, Joel Embiid got the same thing last night. I saw some of those calls for
him.
from the 76ers.
Like, if you want to talk about the integrity of the game, I would look way more at that than I would teams that are tanking, because if you're trying to protect the fans, every fan here in Utah wants the Jazz to do what they're doing. Like, if you want to protect the Jazz fans, let them keep doing what they're doing, because the fans are all on board with that.
Well, sure. And that to your point, when you watch a guy like Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, who's the reigning MVP, probably, I don't know if he's the betting favorite to win the second straight, but I would pick him right now as my MVP if I had a vote, which I don't. But you look at it, and what is happening with the officiating that favors him, and he's been known as the free throw merchant, Scotty.
Yeah.
And he takes full advantage of that, but you want to talk about the integrity of the game. As quick as of a whistle as he is getting, guys like Joel Embiid get, that is what turns fans off to the NBA in mass. They don't want to watch games completely dominated by guys making parade after parade to the free throw line. So I don't know. It's just one of those interesting dynamics at play here. I am genuinely curious to see if the NBA addresses that in any meaningful way.
They won't. No, they won't.
You'd like to think so.
I do.
They did call him for an offensive foul last night, speaking of Shai.
Yeah. They're like, hey, look, we'll give him one.
And their staff lost their ever-loving.
Oh, I back in the day when we were working for the Jazz, we were privy to some meetings that would go on, and we would see the officials come in, and they would have a sit down with the broadcasters and go over, okay, this is our point of emphasis. We're working on this year. They would explain rules. It was actually a really cool program, but it was really secretive and behind the scenes. And then when officials would screw up, they would make their necessary disciplinary actions, but it was always behind the scenes. It was always in the, all quiet.
Sure.
I think this stuff needs to be public. If a official screws up in a conference in football, they announce and say, hey, this guy's going to miss some games. He screwed up. This wasn't right. And we missed it. And there's nothing we can do about it now. It is what it is, but just know that official reprimands have been taken. I don't know why the NBA shies away from that. I think the NBA needs to do a better job of saying, you know what? We missed this call. We missed this call. We missed that call. That's going to be better. The under 2 doesn't count.
The last 2-minute reports don't do it.
That's bullcrap. Absolute trash.
I'm just saying that's their attempt at handling it. But there is no, like you mentioned, no repercussions. There are no ramifications for it. Like, oh yeah, we screwed up that call. It's like, well, that's helpful, but what's to stop it from happening again? Well, nothing. Okay, nothing. Great. That's what we like to hear as a basketball fan.
And and we'll see officials suddenly disappear for a stretch of 3. Okay, it would have been nice to know. It would have been nice to hear something in regards to what's going on there.
Well, and we see this, you mentioned in football, NFL's not afraid to point it out if somebody screws something up. We've had the Big 12 has suspended an entire crew for games. That was, I think, this past football season. The SEC has had that. There's accountability with that, where they literally announced that, hey, this was unacceptable and we're penalizing them for that. In basketball, though, they're untouchable. They refuse to acknowledge it. Speaking of, you mentioned the fact that they may surprisingly disappear for a game or 2 or 3, and you do wonder, okay, what's going on? But there is no public accountability on that front, and gives lend to obviously all those conspiracy theories out there that exist in basketball. It seems like there's one sport that is rife with more controversy and more conspiracy theory, Scotty. I would like to see anybody argue it's anything other than the NBA, because it is just rife with these throughout its history. And the way that they operate, I'm going to bring up the aspiration situation right now with Kawhi Leonard and the Los Angeles Clippers, and the fact that the NBA apparently just going to kind of let it float out there in the wind. It's like, okay, are we going to allow a billionaire, the richest owner in the sport, to circumvent the salary cap? Are you going to do anything about that, Adam?
No.
And that's the problem. Is it just gives people who believe that the NBA is rigged, it's fixed, it's got all these conspiracy theories. It allows them to fester because the NBA does nothing to address it, to fix the issue.
Yeah, and honestly, I've been behind the scenes enough to know that 99% of the conspiracy theories are wrong. Now, I can't speak to the lottery.
Sure.
I haven't been in the room when the lottery balls drop. I've talked to people who have been, though, and they all say, by their all accounts, it's on the up and up. They can't see how honestly, it sure feels that way sometimes. And when the Jazz get hosed again, this is going to feel that way again. But the element of officiating, the element of some of the other stuff that goes on, it's not rigged. It's not tempered down the perception of that. And like we say, perception's reality.
They could quash it real easily. And that all it would take, as you mentioned, is having some accountability, whether it is sending out an email saying, hey, in this game, the officials screwed up. And they don't necessarily have to point out the call if they don't want to. They can just point out, hey, officials screwed up in this game, and it will be dealt with accordingly. That would, I think, can change people's perception of this league. And I have been an NBA fan my entire life, obviously growing up here in the state with it being the professional sport we had here for most of my life.
Yeah.
I'd like to see it handled a whole lot better, but I've got zero faith that Adam Silver as the commissioner will get it right, because it feels like at every turn he continues to bungle this thing.
No, and I feel bad too, because Adam Silver's like the nerd at school that wanted to be liked by everybody. And look, you know what? As the chubby kid growing up, I know, look, I get it. Like, you wanted to be liked by everybody. And so that means that you will acquiesce to anything just because you want to get that little ounce of credibility with the cool kids. Well, Adam Silver has never been a cool kid in his entire life, and he wants to be with the cool kids. So, hey, look, Maverick Carter and your group, I'm going to do whatever I can to make you guys happy. LeBron, you know what? I got you. We're going to be all right.
Yeah.
The owners, I'm on your side too. Like, we're going to make this work. But when you have to draw a line in the sand, nobody's going to respect you because you bent over backwards for everybody. And then they're like, okay, well, you know what? I'm so angry, I'm going to take it out on the Jazz. Sorry, Ryan, you got to take the brunt of this. And Ryan's like, look, I'm just doing what everybody else is doing. Why are you coming at me? Like, I got to go after somebody, and you're the easiest target. So sorry.
We're allowing the Los Angeles Clippers to circumvent the salary cap.
But yeah, meanwhile, over here, we're creating false businesses to provide compensation.
Yeah.
Gee, that's ridiculous.
Like you mentioned, they could do a lot to fix the perception of this league with some very simple fixes. But like, I just lack any faith that Adam Silver, anybody in the NBA league offices, are going to do anything towards that end, because so far they have not done so.
Yeah, they won't. All right, so a little bit of programming change. Kurt Helin's going to join us coming up at 1:30, so that gives us a chance to hit a couple different topics. I had Mitch on yesterday, Harper, who does a great job covering BYU. You cover BYU with the Locked On Cougars and as well. So if you're Kevin Young and you know what you've got coming back, let's just say for the sake of argument that Rob Wright comes back, and I think you believe he is,
well,
correct?
His statement at the NCAA tournament says, if I'm in a college uniform next year, I'm playing at BYU.
Okay.
So if you take him at his word, if he's playing in college next year, he's playing in Provo.
So let's say he is at BYU next year. You got the Banks kid. Knowing
Branch,
what
you mean?
What's that?
Branch.
Yeah, sorry. My bad.
Yeah.
So if knowing what you have available, what is your point of emphasis in the transfer portal, which opens up 1 week from today?
It is a big man. And now, obviously, Keba Keita has had his moments in a Cougar uniform, but he's out of eligibility. I don't think that Abdullah Ahmed was to any level what they expected when he came in from the G League. And I think it's lent some credence out there to people saying that these G League guys who want to come back to college may not be worth wasting your time on. And Xavier Staten, while he was a highly rated prospect coming out, Scotty, I had people tell me when he committed to BYU, he needs a year, maybe two, before he's really able to contribute to the Big 12 level. So it looks like to me, considering you say Rob Wright, Bruce Branch, don't forget about Dean Ruckert, by the way, a Timpview kid who's coming in as a freshman. Those three are, I think, very talented players, but you got to have somebody who can protect the rim. And Kevin Young, he likes to run an NBA style, and that is he needs a rim protector, a true center who can really back up the guys on defense, but also, I think in his heart of hearts, he would like to have somebody who has at least some semblance of an offensive game, whether it's a simple hook shot, something that they can throw the ball into the deep post when in doubt and get a bucket out of them. Because that's one thing they got nothing out of Keba Keita, nothing out of Bidu Ahmed. So, I think the number one priority in my mind is center, even though Kevin Young has said that shooting is his priority.
That's where I was going to go with shooting.
Yeah.
All right, so tell me This is your chance to tell me I'm wrong.
Okay.
Because I love the text when I go off on a tangent and then you or somebody texts me like, you're wrong on this one. So tell me I'm wrong.
Okay.
Rob Wright never really felt comfortable to me in a Cougar uniform with the setup of the team and what they were asking him to do.
Well, I would agree with you on that because I think he was told or at least understood that he was the third wheel in the three-man alignment that they had, because it was built around AJ and Richie Saunders, AJ DeBonce and Richie Saunders. They were going to be the way I kind of perceived Kevin Young building that roster last year is he wanted to do what the Boston Celtics have. Speaking of Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum, you have two premier wings that you funnel everything through, and you do need to have a point guard who can obviously help facilitate that, and that's what Rob Wright was expected to do. But Rob Wright, in his mind, I believe, is like, no, I'm as good as these guys. I want to go obviously show what I'm capable of. And you're right, there were moments where it felt really, really clunky, really, really awkward, and this is, you never want to have a guy like Richie Saunders go down due to injury, but when he was lost for the season, I thought you saw finally a guy like Rob Wright settle in where he's like, okay, now I'm truly one of the featured guys in this. And he really, I thought started to flourish in that. I guess that's the thought. If he sticks around in Provo with no AJ, no Richie Saunders, I know that Bruce Branch is coming in. He's expected to take on an outsized role as yet kind of the next lottery guy that the Cougars are trying to develop. But I think if you're Rob Wright, you're thinking, all right, this is my time to shine.
Yeah. And I think that can be a good thing. And also it could be a bad thing because if he takes a lot of that responsibility on himself, look, I think he can be an elite passer. I think he can be an elite facilitator, but I think sometimes he feels like the world's on his shoulders. And by the way, this is not any knock on him as a kid. I'm sure he's a wonderful kid, but sometimes you feel like, things are falling apart. I got to be the guy instead of being a facilitator. And you look at BYU when he had 7 or more assists, BYU was going to win that game.
And that happened far too little. Because to your point, he can be that. But I think you and I both know in this day and age of AAU and the way that the youth basketball system is set up in this country, all these guys want to be the man. They want to be the one scoring the buckets. They want to be on the highlight reels. Guess what doesn't get you that highlight reel typically is when you're playing the facilitator role, which is what the Cougars need from a guy like Rob Wright. I would hope that Kevin Young, I'm sure he's talked to him time and time again. I would hope at some point that message kind of gets through to him and he says, you know what? I am going to be that facilitator. I am going to be a little more willing to obviously set guys up for better shots. Because there have been times that it feels like he has gotten really selfish in terms of hunting his own shot. And it really bogged down that offense and it really affected, I thought, a lot of what they were trying to run all year long last season.
All right. The great Kurt Helin will join us coming up at 1:30. The great Jake Blair joins us right now.
Oh, hey now.
Oh, hey now. Hey, you got 8 new vehicles you got to sell today.
Yep, we got to sell 8 more new vehicles. As a matter of fact, I just sold one, so 7.
More.
Sweet.
7 more new vehicles.
All
We
right.
just sold a brand new 2026 too, CX-5.
Oh, I love that 26.
Yeah, they bought the charcoal gray premium plus package. Oh, it's
What?
gorgeous.
What is this? What is this? This
So-
matte, whatever.
So it's a PPF that we put on the gray color.
Yeah.
So it looks now we're calling it the stealth.
That is a paint job that's ridiculous.
Isn't it beautiful?
Oh my! It's one of the most beautiful vehicles I've ever seen.
It's gorgeous. Like seriously, like when we decided to do it, I was like, all right, we'll put it on the showroom floor, and I'm so glad we did.
Well, when I walked in, I immediately saw it. I was like, whoa,
that's different.
Jake's not messing around right now. I mean, Brent can tell you right now. Like, I came in and I was late to the show. I had a lot of other stuff going on. I was like, nope, we're going to stop and look at this for a little bit because that is something else.
And we could do this to any car.
You can?
Regardless of color and everything?
Regardless of color.
Awesome.
Yeah, so we put a PPF on it, so it's like almost like a clear brow, like
Yeah,
a wrap.
yeah.
It goes on, it's clear, so it goes and makes it all look matte.
Oh, that's awesome. It really is cool. And that's the kind of stuff you can do because I had a 5 before I jumped in this 50. And the 5, you really pimped it out. I mean, it was lifted a little bit. We had the tires to go along with it. And I still miss driving that thing around because that thing caught some eyes.
Yeah, for sure. You know, that's what I mentioned to Jake earlier. You know, it doesn't matter what kind of accessories you want on the car, we can accessorize it. We could lift it, wheels, tires. We could put extra racks on it. We could do all sorts of stuff to this. We can put on tow packages. I mean, whatever you want, we could do. I can lower them. I mean, you should see some of those Mazda 3s when we lowered them.
Oh, I bet.
They're beautiful. They're beautiful.
So bottom line is the sky's the limit on what you can do. Creativity is over the moon. You can do all kinds of different things, but you're going to get a better price, a better deal today than you will tomorrow.
1,000% you will. I'm chasing a goal, and it's very important that the store hits the goal just because we want to say we did this.
Yeah.
So we're going to do whatever it takes to find those car deals today.
Let's go. And I mean, here's the thing with Jake. Jake says that, he means it. He absolutely means it. So if you're looking for a vehicle or even thinking about a vehicle, and there's a lot of people out there that like, look, my credit's shot. I'm upside down. I'm in a bad deal. I can't get out of it. Guess what? You've seen worse.
A lot worse. I promise.
So you come in, you test Jake, because Jake's one of the most competitive dudes I know. And if there's any problems whatsoever that you're dealing with and you think that it's not going to happen, Jake's going to make it happen.
Promise.
Let's go.
Let's make it happen.
It's Tim Daly Mazda Southtown off the 106 South exit. That's Tim Daly Mazda Southtown. I'm a huge fan of Mazdas. All right, so Jake, I drive a 90, or no, my wife drives a 90, and she just got a 90.
I just saw it sitting out here.
Yeah, so it's waiting for her to pick up, which she'll swing by later. I drive a 50, and my kid drives a 3.
Well, are you okay? I need to add the 5.
Well, I
no,
traded
you
the
need
5
to
in
add
for
the 5 as well.
Yeah, I need the 5.
Oh, okay. Well,
I had a 5.
You
I
want a
traded in
70
for the
or
50.
90.
he and I already talked.
You
about
need the
this.
third row.
He wants the PHEV.
Oh, the PHEV's awesome.
Yeah, I've got a plug-in currently that I drive. It's what I've had for a couple of years now.
Yeah,
love it.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's make it happen. It is Tim Daly Mazda Southtown. That's Tim Daly Mazda Southtown, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Hi, this is Alex Kantrowitz. I'm the host of Big Technology Podcast, a longtime reporter and an on-air contributor to CNBC. And if you're like me, you're trying to figure out how artificial intelligence is changing the business world and our lives. So each week on Big Technology, I bring on key actors from companies building AI tech and outsiders trying to influence it, asking where this is all going. They come from places like NVIDIA, Microsoft, Amazon, and plenty more. So if you want to be smart with your wallet, your career choices, in meetings with your colleagues, and at dinner parties, listen to Big Technology Podcast wherever you get your podcasts.
I sold my car in Carvana last night.
Well, that's cool.
No, you don't understand. It went perfectly. Real offer, down to the penny. They're picking it up tomorrow. Nothing went wrong.
So, what's the problem?
That is the problem. Nothing in my life goes as smoothly. I'm waiting for the catch.
Maybe there's no catch.
That's exactly what a catch would want me to think.
Wow, you need to relax.
I need to knock on wood. Do we have wood? Is this table wood?
I think it's laminate.
Okay, yeah, that's good. That's close enough.
Car selling without a catch. Sell your car today on
Carvana.
Pickup fees may apply.
Every day, the world gets a little weirder and a lot more awesome. Cool Stuff Daily takes a look at everything from mining in space to the latest in the fight against cancer to how AI is, well, basically changing everything. It's all the cool stuff you didn't know you needed to know. Join us for Cool Stuff Daily as we take a quick look at science, tech, and the wait, what stories that make you sound way smarter at dinner. Subscribe to Cool Stuff Daily now, because the future's happening fast, and it's way too fun to miss.
You're listening to Scotty G and Friends on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
All right, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Scott Gerard, Jake Hatch hanging out with us today. He is the designated friend of the program. And joining us now, one of our favorites. We always consider him a friend. I don't know if it works both ways on his part, but the great Kurt Helin, NBC Sports, ProBasketballTalk.com, joins us. Kurt, how are you?
I'm doing good. You know, I'm glad somebody's there to prop you up for a day, Scotty.
I know, right?
Hold you
I
up.
know. Hey, look, it sometimes it's a lot of heavy lifting, but Hatcher here is up for the challenge. Hey, all right, so is there any kind of urgency from the NBA or any concern from the NBA that anybody who plays Oklahoma City right now, the coach is losing their mind on the whistle that Shea's getting?
I'm sure that will come up, but, I'm not sure what they're going to do about it because everybody hates that guy when he's on the other team and loves him when he's on, Luka, frankly, going back to Jordan. A lot of these guys, you run into the body, you get the call, and at a certain point, it's part of it, and it drives. It'll go away a little in the playoffs. There's a little more contact allowed, but I'm not sure what the league's going to do about it. Certainly not in the short term. Again, in the playoffs, they'll let a little more go. But I'm curious if they adapt this, if there's any changes for how they just want to call standard drive plays next year, because they tried to change it a couple of years ago, remember? Mm-hmm. Where the defender was supposed to be able to kind of, stay in his lane, and any contact that was initiated by the driver would not be a foul. But let's be polite and call that called inconsistently. It's not the way it always goes.
Well, you talk about points of emphasis, Kurt, and that's something the NBA is obviously every season they come out with this list like, hey, we're going to focus in on this and this and this, and it feels like they enforce it for the first month of the season, and then they get the stars whining about it, for lack of a better term, and all of a sudden things change. Do you think, and I look at example like Joel Embiid last night, he had a number of calls that a lot of people were calling out. Do you feel like is there a simple fix for that? Is it a culture thing, I guess, is the best question. Is it ingrained in the NBA culture?
I think a little bit. I think that what happens with those is they do call everything. Part of it is that the players kind of adapt. Like if you keep calling it, the players will adjust, right? And just like in any sport, any game. But then, hey man, they're trying to win, and they're going to push. Hey, how much can I get away with here? Can I get back to this? Can I get back? And they start pushing it back, and it just kind of all too often kind of gets back to closer to where it was, or some version of that. So, yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure how they ultimately change that, because it's always, man, we're going to get a lot of travel calls the first month of the season, but then the rest of the season, it's just not like that anymore.
So if you were to say this is the biggest threat to the integrity of the game, I don't think it's tanking, but of course that's what Adam Silver, went around. What, in your opinion, is the biggest threat to the integrity of the game?
The league's close relationship with gambling.
Ooh,
that would
go.
That would be higher on my list of concerns of things that could ultimately tamper with. I mean, we've obviously already had arrests and the Terry Rozier thing with prop bets and like I don't see how that goes away. I mean, again, Rozier's making $26 million this year, and he's still allegedly involved in this kind of thing.
Yeah.
I see that being in a continued presence and prevalence, especially with the kind of betting that's out there, like baseball has dealt with, where, hey man, I can throw a ball on the third, the third pitch of this at bat and tip my buddies off that it's coming. Like, I don't know in basketball how the closer you get to them, I just don't know how you get away from that. I think it's going to be messy long term. I think the foul calling will become an issue again as the playoffs go on, because it always is. It is always a playoff issue, and especially with the Thunder likely to make look, they're the odds-on favorite to win it all. Shea is going to win another MVP, and this will all come up again.
All right, Kurt, you may have already just answered my next question, but we have a guy like J.J. Redick stumping for Luka Doncic to be NBA MVP, and then you have Shea last night. He said, I let my game do the talking, and we've had guys like Victor Wembanyama who've said, hey, my defense is what sets me apart. Just kind of handicap the NBA MVP race at this juncture.
Yeah, everybody will watch. If you're going to get your bets in now, I'm just telling you to get your bets in now, because Tim Bontemps' list comes out later this week at ESPN, and when the straw poll comes out, that will how should I say, define the market is the term I will go with. I would say, from my perspective, and I'm curious what others will say, but I am a voter, I have Shea a pretty clear lead. Like, I have Shea 1. Right now, I have Jokic still 2. The guy's averaging a triple-double. They're playing great basketball. I can make a case for Wembanyama second. I have him third, but I think you could go either way. I'll be honest with you, what holds me back on him is minutes played. He just, compared to, I looked it up this morning because I was down that rabbit hole. He's played more than 7 48-minute games less than Jokic this year. And that's a lot of minutes. That's just a lot, even though the games are close. So, and I have Doncic 4th, and he's going to I would say Doncic is going to complain about that, but literally, what doesn't Doncic complain about? So I'm not sure. But like the challenge really is that all four of them have had really good seasons and really impressive statistical and otherwise seasons, and you're kind of splitting hairs trying to divide them up. I think it's going to be those four, and then with Cade out, I think that fifth spot's probably, I don't know, Jaylen Brown or Donovan Mitchell, probably. I don't think Ant's kind of slumping lately. Donovan's kind of come apart, which may give it to Jaylen Brown, but we'll see.
So, how do you feel like the transition for the Portland Trailblazers is going, and what's the NBA thoughts on where that's at right now?
They are excited to have an owner who wants to spend some money and try to do stuff like look. Paul Allen cared. Really cared, right? And they didn't always win up in Portland, but he's the kind of owner you want to have, right? He's engaged. He's involved. His sister, who ran it for the trust for years, she liked the prestige of being an owner. I'm not sure that it was necessarily good for the team. This guy has owned the Carolina Hurricanes, for people who don't know, and I want to say somebody and a couple other sports. He's very involved in pickleball, I've learned, but. The Carolina Hurricanes, look, I don't follow the NHL that closely, but I know that they picked up some banners recently. Like that's been a good team for a while, and I think that there's some real optimism in Portland now that, hey man, they've got some interesting young players. They might pick up a couple more, and how can we start to really, Scoot hasn't quite panned out like they'd hoped, but there's a lot to like there about them kind of finding a direction and going that direction and turning that into something. And he got what he wanted, by the way. The state will be paying for major upgrades to that arena, which it kind of needs.
Yeah.
All right, Kurt, so bringing it closer to home, a lot of Utah Jazz fans are excited at the prospect of the Jazz being far more competitive next year when they have their full complement of roster players.
Yes.
That is the expectation. What we're seeing from Ace Bailey right now is he's being given a big opportunity to kind of just show what he's capable of as his rookie season comes to a close. What have you observed, and do you think that this is stuff that Jazz fans should buy into in terms of what he can project to the future here?
You should absolutely be buying in. I don't know that he's going to be able to put up – look, March numbers can get – March basketball gets a little weird, as I know you guys were talking about before. Look, even those of us who do this for a living – get to some points with the Jazz and the Kings and the Wizards at this point in the season. And if you tried to play who's he play for with me, I'd be like, yeah, I don't know. Like I like to mock Charles Barkley when he fails that early in the season. And then we get to this point in the year, I'm like, yeah, I got no idea. But I think next year you're going to see a Jazz team. I think what Ace Bailey is doing is real, and he can absolutely – look, man, it looks to me like not only is he attacking and just seems more comfortable, but the game's slowed down for him. He kind of knows where he's supposed to fit, what his role is going to be. And he'll have to adjust that next year when, look, Lowry's going to get a bunch of touches, right? And touches are going to go other places. But if he can fill that role on the wing, he can absolutely be with George, can be part of, and some other guys, be part of what's being built long-term here. I mean, JJJ isn't that old. Like, this is a pretty young team that can be pretty impressive, pretty quickly next year.
I think we talked a little bit about this last week. Look, my weeks are running together now, so I apologize. But
you and me both.
Yeah, I was calling that Utah State game against Arizona, and the Kansas game was right before us, and I was sitting courtside, and I made sure to get to it early because I wanted to really say I really wanted to figure out if I could see the body language of Darren Peterson.
Yeah.
And it wasn't good. Now, the skill set's through the roof, there's no doubt, and I don't think he's healthy, but you could see, like, the side-eye to teammates every now and then. And maybe this isn't fair just because I'm looking at it from a standpoint of just one singular game. But I could see why an NBA GM would be a bit hesitant there.
Yeah, I think in a lot of minds right now, he's like AJ's passed him on most boards. Again, it will come down a little bit to who wins the lottery, but because there's some eye of the beholder stuff there. But there's some concern about look, he's had a couple health issues. People really want to see the medicals. They want to talk to him. They want to see if this season was just kind of a one-off or not. I think part of the issue, honestly, I watched him. I didn't get to watch him a lot before this. I watched him some of the tournament. Why is Bill Self playing him off the ball? Or was playing him off the ball? Dude, if you have a really good player, you put, especially at the college level and below, you put the ball in his hands a lot, right? So there was some maybe part of that. Seemed to be a lot of things going into it. I also get the sense a lot of teams are willing to look past it, are willing to just say, hey, you know what? I think he's that good. I think we're going to be fine. Let's take him high because, like you said, the skill set, the size, the athleticism, it's unbelievable. What he showed in high school was unbelievable, and he just hasn't looked as explosive this year. And as long as the medicals don't show that that's something long-term, then I think teams will buy in. My guess is he still goes second.
Yeah.
And Cameron Boozer goes third, and Wilson probably fourth. And then everybody will think Acuff dropped too far. So
yeah, exactly. All right, so our good friend Tony Jones, who was in this market for a long time.
Tony.
Tony is the best, but Tony is prone to make.
I would say Tony's the best, but I wouldn't say that to his face because I don't.
Oh yeah, no,
that's a bad idea.
That head's getting big enough already. So
yeah, exactly.
But Tony is prone to making big, bold statements, and a lot of times he forgets that he makes them a year or two later when you try to call him on it. But he came on the show last week, was it earlier this week? I can't remember.
It was last week. Yeah.
And he dropped this bomb, and I want you to hear it and give me your thoughts.
You ready for me to get wild on here?
Well, let's go.
I'm going to get
Let's
wild
do it
on this show.
Let's do it.
If the Utah Jazz get A.J. DeBancer, they're winning an NBA championship within 3 years.
So, if the Jazz get A.J. DeBancer, given their current roster as is, the Jazz will not make the playoffs, not be in a Western Conference Finals, not even be in an NBA Finals, Kurt. They will win the whole darn thing in 3 years or less.
Yeah, that's pretty bold. I don't think the thing is I don't think it's outlandishly crazy. It's not I'm trying to think. I was about to say it's not Loch Ness Monster, except like everybody believes in the Loch Ness Monster, so that's like not going to work. But it's not like if everything clicks, if they get the Bonsa, put him on the wing, and you've got Kennedy George, you've got obviously Markkanen and JJ, like that whole thing, suddenly that looks like a really good team. You've got a really good coach. You got a really strong organization. And suddenly that thing comes together in a couple of years and looks really good. They could, how about it this way? I would say that they could be in the mix for that. It's hard for me to say, man, they'd win it because there's this 7'5" guy in San Antonio that's going to have a lot to say over the next few years about who wins. Like, it's just winning it takes – Oklahoma City's still going to be good. Boston's not good. Like, it just takes a lot of things to go right to win a championship. But I'm with him on the sentiment that, like, within 3 years, they could absolutely be contenders. They could absolutely be in the mix for this thing. I can see that happening. I'm not as bold as Tony, but I am a better three-point shooter. So.
Oh, wow. I will say that. And the thing with Tony is he's the best basketball player that nobody's actually ever seen play. And so
he started playing in the media run. Like if you go to All-Star Weekend or during the finals, there's media runs. And I just haven't, from health reasons, just knee issues, just haven't done it for a while. And he started jumping in. So, I really never got to see him play. I'm kind of bummed about that.
Yeah, because he is the best basketball player nobody's actually ever seen. All right.
Yeah, he's quite confident in his skill set.
Oh, yeah. And he loves to fight on Twitter. So that's always fun. We always enjoy that. Hey, Kurt, you're the best, man. Thanks for joining us, and we look forward to catching up with you again here very soon.
Take care, Scotty. Take care, guys. Bye.
You got it. Kurt Helin, NBC Sports and ProBasketballTalk.com. All right. Coming up next, we continue to, tell you what, quick segment coming up next because, Jake, Bill Armstrong.
GMBA?
That's the man. Hey, by the way, I saw his doppelganger today.
You saw Clark Kent?
No. The new coach at Ben Jacobson.
Oh, that's true. That's a good point, yeah.
Ben Jacobson and Bill Armstrong could be brothers. Boy, that jaw that could just cut glass.
True.
Yeah. So we will hear from him coming up right at 2 o'clock, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Do you love rom-coms? Do you wish you could talk about Christmas movies year-round? Then we have the perfect podcast for you, Hallmarkies Podcast. Throughout the year, we cover all things romance, holiday, and Hallmark, including recaps of every Hallmark show, like When Calls the Heart and The Way Home. You can also get loads of bonus content covering shows like Bridgerton, Sweet Magnolias, and Just Like That. We are an all-female group of friends who are passionate for these shows and movies and give our honest opinions as well as gush over what we love so much. But that's not all. Every Monday, there are interviews with all your favorite actors, writers, directors, and more. Check out Hallmarkies Podcast on all your podcast providers and on YouTube. That's Hallmarkies Podcast wherever you listen to podcasts.
Hey, sweetie, your mother showed me this Carvana thing for selling the car. I'm going to give it a try. Wish me luck. Me again. I put in the license plate. It gave me an offer. Unbelievable. Okay, I accepted the offer. They're picking it up Tuesday from the driveway. I haven't even left my chair. It's done. The car's gone. I'm holding a check. Anyway, Carvana, give it a whirl. Love ya.
So good, you'll want to leave a voicemail about it. Sell your car today on Carvana. Pickup fees may apply.
Hi, this is Alex Kantrowitz. I'm the host of Big Technology Podcast, a longtime reporter and an on-air contributor to CNBC. And if you're like me, you're trying to figure out how artificial intelligence is changing the business world and our lives. So each week on Big Technology, I bring on key actors from companies building AI tech and outsiders trying to influence it, asking where this is all going. They come from places like NVIDIA, Microsoft, Amazon, and plenty more. So if you want to be smart with your wallet, your career choices, in meetings with your colleagues, and at dinner parties, listen to Big Technology Podcast wherever you get your podcasts.
Believe it or not, this guy actually has friends.
Nice.
This is Scotty G and Friends on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. He is the general manager of the Utah Mammoth right here on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Coming off a big win in Game 1 of a 3-game road trip. Seattle coming up on Thursday. But, Bill, congratulations. That was a big one for your guys.
Oh, huge one. Absolutely huge. So we came to play. It was, probably a great response for us. We had a tough one at home against Washington, and we came firing on all pistons in LA. It was a great response by the guys, and it's good to see you this time of year.
Bill, I want to take you back to before last season. We were standing in a scrum, and I was there, and this is a phrase you've been probably brought up to you time and time again. You talked about some nights this team's going to look like they could win the Stanley Cup. Other nights you're going to be wondering what they're doing. You're just wondering what they're doing out there. We've seen some moments of that this season. Do you feel like the Mammoth are ready to kind of graduate from that in a way?
Yeah, I do. I do. I think we're getting to a better consistency in our play. It's a team that's, every time we take our team's a pretty good learner. If they make a mistake and, they don't play well because of something we didn't shoot the puck enough, or, hey, we weren't good at this on the forecheck. Our team's pretty good and pretty resilient about going back and fixing it. So I like where we're at in the sense of there's a better consistency from the club. We've played some pretty good home games, haven't got the win, and struggled in some areas, but I like our team. They're battling, and we're right in the thick of things. We're playing, pretty hard every single night in trying to get into the playoffs. So it's right where we want to be, and I like our effort and our I think our consistency's improved since last season.
I don't want to take you back to a bad memory here, but just an appreciation for what Mammoth fans may have seen the other night. At his age, Ovechkin getting a hat trick and playing in this level of the NHL with this level of physicality, just how impressive is that? And again, I'm talking more in a general sense, not an indictment on your guys at all.
Well, it's a painful process because when you talk about that, the memories that come up. But listen, everybody loves Ovi in the league. He's a pure-blooded goal scorer. From the time he came to the league to the time he's going to leave, he's been unreal. And he's got the ability, even at his age, he can shoot it off one leg harder than most guys can shoot it, off two. So he's a phenomenon, and he's someone that everybody likes to see, have success. Unfortunately, it was against us that night. But he's been a great ambassador for hockey, and you could see that when he shows up at the game. And there's a ton of OV jerseys in the stands. People still follow him, and he's one of those guys. You see him score. It's the best in the business at doing that. So it's a pleasure to watch. I just wish he wouldn't have done it against us. Fair enough.
Yep. Fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Bill, obviously the team's going to be at Seattle's their next game on Thursday. 6 of their last 8, they've won on the road. You already referenced the fact that there have been some struggles at home. What makes this team so effective on the road? Because traditionally, obviously, home ice is where you're supposed to take advantage of opportunities. But winning 75% of your road games recently is a very positive trend for the squad.
Yeah, it is a positive. We're very calm at home, I should say, on the road. And I think sometimes, we want to please our fans with big hits or too fancy of plays. When we play on the road, we seem to just play a calmer game and take what's given to us. So it's an improvement for us to be a little bit, calmer at home and just kind of play our game and just don't try and do too much. And sometimes, I think our players care so much about Utah and they like it there. They almost do too much, and when you see us play on the road, it's a simple game. Put pucks and people at the net, crash the net, find opportunities to score around the net. And I love our game on the road. And, we came out against LA and just put it on them. We didn't let them breathe. That's when we're at our best, is that when we're on teams. And I felt like, in our D zone, we've kind of taken a step back probably in the last 10 games and given other teams space to make plays. And I just felt like we pressured the puck so hard in LA. We had good jump and good energy, and we never let them get to get them established in our zone. We put pressure the whole time, and like I said, it was a great response. But I do believe our next 2 road games are the biggest games of the year. So hopefully we can continue that trend.
You were up 3-1 against Washington, and then obviously we know how that game ended up. But then you're up 3-1 against the Kings, and I got to imagine the memories of 3-1 just a couple nights prior were probably resonating through everybody's head, and to see them say, all right, no, we're going to shut the door on this thing, and it's 5-1 before too long. I think it goes to show about the maturity of your team and learning and saying, okay, you know what, we just gave up one. We're not going to let that happen in back-to-back games.
Well, like I said, there's some learning that you do during the course of the year that's pretty painful. And one of the things that has happened to us at home is we're getting leads and we're stopped playing, and we got to play through the outcome and just continue to play. If you play hard and you play the right way, you make a mistake, so be it. We'll live with that all day long. But at the end of the day, we got to play, and you got to play to the outcome and through the outcome instead of just standing around waiting for the outcome. And I think that's been a little bit of our fault at home. And I thought, when our team, took the ice against LA, they were ready to play and make plays and live with the consequences. And that's a little bit about being young and being nervous at this time of the year. And, we were in the rebuild a few years ago, and we used to wax teams at this time of the year because they'd come in and be so tight, and our players have to learn. And I think they've made that adjustment where, it's even, just being themselves on the ice, just joking around during practice and making sure you're having fun and you're loose and you're ready to go. You've done it all year. Don't tense up now when you get to these moments. And when you get a lead, whether it's the first minute of the game or the last minute of the game, you got to play the right way, do the right things. If you make a mistake, so be it. It'll happen. We'll deal with it. But it's really about playing in those moments.
Bill, is there a balance to be struck there, both having fun but also keeping the mindset of, hey, we're in a good spot. We don't want to let it slip here in the final 8 games of the regular season?
Yeah, there's definitely a mindset of when you have to be on, for sure, and having that mindset to, take care of business, and whether it's close it out and make a play. And, sometimes they're ugly. Like they're just getting to center and putting it, deep in the last minute of the game or, the last minute of the second period. But there's also moments where you need to score and you need to finish and you need to have focus. But there's a goodness of our club that, they do that when they're loose. They do that when, they're not over tense, and they almost get paralyzed because of, hey, not wanting to make a mistake. And I think there's some goodness in our group when they're talking on the bench, they're loud, they're in the dressing room, they're into it. There's a goodness to that. So I think our guys are learning, how to have fun in intense moments and how to be yourself. So it's a little bit of some growth that we're going through for sure.
When you've got some guys, now look, you've got guys on this roster that have made deep runs in the playoffs, guys that have won Stanley Cups, but as a team, how important is playoff experience for their development in knowing that level of physicality, what that's going to be like in preparation for taking that next step that you continue to talk about?
Well, I'll always take the talent over the experience. I always lean to the greatness of the talent. Sometimes you have to just kind of go through it, and to get that experience. And, playoff hockey's the best. Our fans are going to rip the roof off the Delta Center. It'll be the greatest thing that ever hit. It's just an amazing experience. And I think as a player, those are tough games. There's 22 more hits per game. There's just an intensity that just goes to another notch. And, it's a great thing, but sometimes you just gotta get in there and find that experience through playing those big games or the big playoff games. It's been a good run for our group and going through that. Now we say when you can feel the pressure, you're in the right spot. So we're definitely in the right spot, and there's some goodness in our team and how they've played in those moments.
Bill, always a pleasure. Thanks for joining us, and let's catch up again here next week.
Thanks for having me, guys. Have a great day.
You got it. There he is, the great Bill Armstrong, general manager of the Utah Mammoth, right here on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. All right, so big win against the Kings. Then you got Seattle coming up, and then Vancouver. The Vancouver game should be a W. I won't say that to Bill because Bill would reach through the microphone and strangle me.
I was going to say, you don't want to bring that up and say, hey.
And then, but getting that first win and a convincing win over L.A., I think really sets the table for a successful road trip. Where I was saying, and I think it was Jay Stevens and I were talking, if this team got four points
of the 6,
out of that available 6, that's a win. Well, right now, let's get greedy. Go get 6.
Well, and Seattle's fading right now. Seattle has been kind of sitting in a playoff position most of the season, but this last 2 to 3 weeks, they have really fallen off, and I think their playoff chances have dwindled. I think they're less than 10% now in terms of making the playoff field, and you do wonder how much that plays into their psyche. Now, you are playing on their home ice up at the Climate Pledge Arena up there in Seattle, and you can never take that for granted, Scotty. But, yeah, at this point, the mindset for the Mammoths should be, okay, we got 2 of the possible 6. We got 2 games here. You mentioned Vancouver. Yeah, you should be able to carve out 2 points there. Get greedy. Go collect all 6. And if you pull all 6 points out of this, then you have, I think, is it 5 of the final 6 games are at home? You could be flying into the playoffs, hopefully with quite a bit of momentum if you can handle that.
Yeah, and it's so critical for this team to have that momentum going into the playoffs. And honestly, I don't expect the Mammoth. I mean, it would be great if they made a long run in the playoffs, but even if they get swept in 4 games in a first series, I think that experience is valuable. It's so important for them to get a taste of what it's like in the playoffs so that they can build on that. And, that's why I alluded that with Bill. Like, I don't know how long their playoff run is going to be, but
sure.
I think the lessons you learn from it, I remember, I don't know how many iterations of Jazz eras it was, but it was just like, hey, this team needs to see what it's like in the playoffs, to feel that intensity and feel like, oh, okay, that was a call in the regular season. I'm not getting that call now.
Yeah.
And just trying to learn what that experience is like. And, that'll be great for this team.
What?
And plus, honestly, how cool is it going to be downtown?
Well, that's the thing. You and I, we've been around this market for years. When there's playoffs going on, and it's obviously been the Jazz for most of our time here, but now you add the Mammoth in, having playoff atmospheres in and around the Delta Center in downtown Salt Lake City, there's nothing like it. The weather's starting to really get good. Fans are showing up. It's the business end of the season, as my good friend Spencer Warren, who I do RSL broadcast, likes to talk about. And there's nothing like it, Scotty. I look forward I'm projecting ahead to next year. I'm expecting the Utah Jazz to be in the playoffs
Yeah.
along with the Mammoth and having
Same.
both of them do that. But to have the Mammoth in it this year, to get that taste of it, whether it's 1-2 series, whatever it ends up being, you take advantage of it. And looking at things right now, Scotty, the Ducks, speaking of Anaheim, they're leading the Pacific Division, and with the Mammoth in that wild card spot, that's the projection that they would play in the first-round series. I don't mind that matchup at all for Utah. Anaheim's coming on strong down the stretch here, obviously leading the Pacific Division, but that's a division that has been it's been the weakest division overall in the NHL this year, and it could be ripe for the picking for Utah if they carry that momentum as we've talked about into this playoff run.
And not to go glass half full for you, but maybe you talked about the struggles they've had at home. Maybe that plays in their favor, being not having home ice advantage against in the playoffs. Maybe that helps. It helps the Mammoth.
When have you ever been glass half full guy?
Hey, I'm changing. Times are a-changing, Scotty G. I'm looking at it like, hey, maybe being on the road actually will be good for them because they have been so good on the road. How about that?
I like this new you. I'm down for it.
Turning over a new leaf.
Yeah, how about that? Honestly, I cannot wait to experience playoff hockey here in the state of Utah.
Yep.
And the fact that this team continues to make their steps, and because honestly, the way that Bill Armstrong has talked about the rebuild process, it made it seem like it was just a matter of when, not if. Mm-hmm. But there's a lot of ifs. And, you look at Vancouver, they've been stuck in a rebuild for 10 years.
And they just tore it down again.
Yeah. And so, like the way Bill talks, and there's such a confidence in the way that he approaches things, like, okay, we're going to be at this level here, we're going to be at this level here, and we're going to be at this level here. And it's just like, oh, okay, well, that's just what every team does. Okay, they tear it down, and then they go here, 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 and then by year 5, they're in a NHL Stanley Cup. That's not how it always goes, but yet they're staying true to his schedule.
Well, and you're seeing a lot of teams. Obviously, the Vegas Golden Knights just fired Bruce Cassidy with 8 games to go in the season.
How about that?
The Toronto Maple Leafs, I think it was Maple Leafs. No, it was who fired their GM just earlier today or yesterday?
It was Toronto.
Toronto is the Maple Leafs, yeah. So there's some. These seem like these are reactionary moves, Scotty, because they're obviously feeling the pressure and everything, and they're trying to do something to boost their chances. That's the fun part about what the Mammoth build here. It feels like it's sustainable. A lot of young talent that is still very, very young, just in terms of experience in the NHL in general. A lot of them haven't experienced the NHL Stanley Cup playoffs, and that should lend, I think, all of us that are watching this team kind of grow up in real time, thinking, all right, yeah, this is a process they're going through. Playoffs this year, you win a series, that's awesome. You take it, and obviously, but you're building towards something. And the thought is, I think you're not far off, Scotty. Next 5 years, they should be in the mix to hoist the cup.
Woo!
Just think about it, the talent they've got. You look at the youth on this roster. They have not really hit what you consider to be their prime yet, and they're already producing at a pretty prodigious rate.
Yeah.
That's the exciting part about this, is that core that they've locked up, by the way, long-term with all these deals that they have announced, they're going to be together for quite some time, and based on projections of where they could go, and, oh, by the way, there's this little thing called Tija Ginla out there that is in the minors right now. There is a lot to look forward to when it comes to being a Mammoth fan.
Yeah, no, there's a lot to be fired up about, especially when you consider exactly what you're talking about. The fact that this team, now this is what's going to resonate with fans here in the state of Utah, because when it comes to professional sports, all they know are the Jazz, and all they know is, okay, players come here, they develop, and then they want out or they leave. But to have Weeks essentially waive his no-trade clause so he can come to Utah, to have your superstars on this team sign long-term contracts and are going to be part of the team long-term, to embrace the community. It's going to be a long process, but the more the NBA stays with some of their shenanigans, it's not going to be overnight. It won't be soon, but I could see there being a day where people are like, you know what? I'm an NHL person now.
Well, I can tell you that the next generation has that opportunity.
Yes, that's a great point.
I've got a son who is 7 years old, and I'm not going to lie to you, Scotty. If the Jazz and the Mammoth are on at the same time, you know what he's preferring to watch right now? It's the Mammoth.
The Mammoth.
He wants to play hockey. He's paying attention more. I'm telling you, this could grab a stranglehold of that next generation if given the opportunity, and that does take, obviously, success. You got to go out there in the playoffs and make an imprint, but they're on their way to the playoffs this year, and I don't care if, I mentioned it's maybe a 4-game sweep. The playoff experience in and of itself is worth it.
And by the way, props to the Mammoth and the organization for the outreach program and making sure that hockey's available, because I think basketball really took root here in the state of Utah when, you could crack a window open at the old Ward House and then swing by on a Tuesday night and sneak in and play basketball all night.
I played pickup hoops my entire life. Right down my church building I grew up was literally a 5-minute walk from my house. We played there all of the time.
Yeah,
now,
and you weren't necessarily supposed to be there, but or somebody's mom had keys and you were able to snag them and get down there. But that's the thing. That's why I think basketball really took root, because everybody had access to it. The more that hockey is available for it to take root.
Yeah. Well, and that's a credit to the Smith Entertainment Group and what they've obviously offered in terms of ice time and obviously offering to build more ice sheets around the state.
And not just ice, by the way. My boys they just did street hockey.
Yeah,
they did street hockey on Friday. Last Friday, they were in this little street hockey clinic, and it's just a little thing to give them a taste of, maybe not on the ice yet, but it's a little thing to get you headed in that direction.
Let's just put it this way. My son has got like a street hockey ball. It's got the Mammoth logo on. He's got a stick now.
Yeah.
All he does in my basement all day long, Scotty, is fire shots at the wall.
Nice. Lloyd, I could see Xavier staying with baseball, but Jackie Blue Eyes.
He's my goon. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
I could see him being the enforcer. This is 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Every day, the world gets a little weirder and a lot more awesome. Cool Stuff Daily takes a look at everything from mining in space to the latest in the fight against cancer to how AI is, basically changing everything. It's all the cool stuff you didn't know you needed to know. Join us for Cool Stuff Daily as we take a quick look at science, tech, and the wait, what stories that make you sound way smarter at dinner. Subscribe to Cool Stuff Daily now, because the future's happening fast, and it's way too fun to miss.
Mom, can you tell me a story?
Sure. Once upon a time, a mom needed a new car.
Was she brave?
She was tired, mostly. But she went to Carvana.com and found a great car at a great price. No secret treasure map required.
Did she have to fight a dragon?
Nope, she bought it 100% online. From her bed, actually.
Was it scary?
Honey, it was as unscary as car buying could be.
Did the car have a sunroof?
It did, actually.
Okay, good story.
Car buying you'll want to tell stories about. Buy your car today on
Carvana.
Delivery fees may apply.
Hey, I'm Josh Spiegel, host of the podcast Lunatic in the Newsroom. If you enjoy journalism that drifts into mild panic, wild overthinking, and a guaranteed nervous breakdown, Lunatic in the Newsroom is for you. It's news like you've never heard before. The only newsroom with a panic button. You'll laugh, you'll cry, and gasp in horror as the show spirals completely out of control. It's not just news, it's emotionally unstable. Lunatic in the Newsroom. Listen today.
Believe it or not, this guy actually has friends.
Nice.
This is Scotty G and Friends on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
You see what I deal with right here, Jake?
I love it.
You see what I'm dealing with?
You know who I deal with on a daily basis.
Heard the joy, right? You right, Hatch? You heard the joy.
Why are we playing Baby, Baby, Baby by Justin Bieber?
Because
do you know like our audience is men really 35 to 54.
You know what? I know you've been listening to a lot of yacht rock lately. I'm going to do more of that.
I have been listening.
No,
to
I'm going to do it.
lately.
I'm going to make a point because I actually enjoy it myself. I don't mind it. I'm not into it right now.
Okay. No. Just because I've been listening to it doesn't mean we should be playing.
Why not?
Because our listeners will probably turn off the radio.
I don't think that's necessarily the case. No.
Yacht rock is in vogue right now, boys.
Is it really?
Yeah, I think it is.
Yeah, absolutely.
Nice. Well, I'm
just saying, I hear it all over the place. And I hear it from people, by the way, I would never expect to be fans of it, if that makes sense.
It's just a phase for me. It's just sometimes, when things get crazy and you just want to, just chill in your car, a little yacht rock, there's nothing wrong with that. I'm not hating it. All right, let's give away some Jazz tickets. Caller number 12 right now, 801-575-ZONE. That's 801-575-ZONE, and you'll win a pair of tickets. See the Jazz and the Spicy Nugs coming up tomorrow at Delta Center. If you can't get tickets right now, we'll just wait next hour. JJ and Alex give away another pair and another pair and then another pair. You know how it goes. Jazz Ticket Tuesday, not a lot of these left, folks, so make sure you get in on them while the getting's good. All right, I had a chance to chat with the new head coach of the Utah State Aggies. Boy, I tell you what, a really fun chat with Ben Jacobson. We talk about a lot of things. We even go down memory lane on the NCAA tournament. Here's that conversation. All right, Coach, welcome to Logan. How are you?
I'm great. Thanks, Scott. The excitement is it's real. It's a real thing. You can feel the energy around here, and so we feel great about our decision to be here, and can't wait to get started. See the guys this afternoon and get started.
What's this process like for you? I know that there's been a lot of teams that have made some overtures to you in the past, but what was this one like in terms of like, okay, that's where I want to sink my teeth into?
Yeah, it really the timing of it, and came down to timing on two fronts. What Utah State has done and the position we're in heading into the new Pac-12 and what that means and the vision that Cam and President Mortensen have for Utah State right now. Right? So everything that the basketball program has done, Coach Morrill, and we could go through the coaches, we could go through the players. I've known about that for a long time. So to have that line up timing-wise with what Don and I have going in our personal life with Hunter and Tanner. They're at 22 and 20 years old. Hunt just finished. He's going to finish his schoolwork. He's going to student teach in the fall. Tanner's a sophomore over at Nebraska. Very different than when they're 5 and 7, or when they're 13 and 15. Like whatever the years matched up. So all of a sudden, those two things just stacked up. Utah State and everything that's been going on here for a long time, and the excitement and energy going into the new Pac-12, and the people with Cam, his team, the president, the players that are on this team. It just hit when Don and I were in a place personally that it made sense to leave a place that we love.
I talked to an assistant coach at a P4 school, and he goes, I can't get a sniff at that job because of the amount of people that want it and where it's elevated. He goes, maybe 6-7 years ago I would have had a shot at it, but not now. There was a lot of competition for this job just simply because of where this program's been elevated to as of late.
Yeah, no question. I would imagine that that Cam was fielding calls from anybody and everybody with a coach that would certainly be interested in this job. And I that there's a couple pieces to that, Scott. One, the excitement that I touched on, but how proud I am to be our head coach, knowing what you just asked and what you just said. That fills me with a tremendous amount of pride. And I know with that comes a responsibility, right? And then the bar is high. Fortunately, we've been in this situation where the bar is high. I love that part of it. That part that gets me going. Every single day. So we're going to thrive in knowing where those expectations are. Right, we're not going to shy away from them. But I take a tremendous amount of pride in the faith that Cam is showing to me right now to be the guy. Out of everyone that had interest in this job.
There is a lot of times when you take over a program, you're taking over a program because the coach had been let go before, and so you've got to rebuild and you've got to build from the ground up. Here it's a different thing where you've got, okay, this is the expectation, bare minimum NCAA tournament. Now they've gotten a taste of round one victories. Now people are talking about Sweet 16s. What kind of a different mindset do you have as opposed to taking over a program what may be struggling and you're trying to build it from scratch?
Yeah, it's it's a great question. I've been in that situation as an assistant coach. When Greg McDermott got the job at Northern Iowa in 2001, we had to do the second part of what you just described. We had to get it going, right? And fortunately, we were able to in year 3. But since 2004, that would have been year 3 for Mac and for our staff at that time. The expectation has been we went to the NCAA tournament. We got beat in the first round, but immediately, all right, the expectation is that we get NCAA tournament. So I've been navigating that part of it since 2004 as an assistant, and then in 2010 when you break through and you get to the Sweet 16, everything we talked about, everything I've talked about as a head coach is, and I talked about it in the press conference today, like there's another weekend. and there's another weekend. So we've been operating that way, right? With whether it be our fans, our closest supporters, our community, our campus, when we were recruiting players, it's everything we've been talking about. Everything I've been talking about for 15 years now, since 2010. So that part really lines up, and I get excited about that. Hey, that the minimum of what's happened here recently and for a long time is the NCAA tournament, right? I'm excited about that. More excited about what's after that. Okay, can we knock down that next door?
Speaking of the Sweet 16, I don't know if you faced off as head coaches, but how crazy is it going to be as a conference opponent looking over and seeing Allie there at Colorado State?
Yeah, that's going to be different, man. Really proud of him. The opportunity to be together when he was playing, and we had 2 magical years, and I don't use that term lightly. We won all 4 titles, regular season and conference tournament, in the NCAA tournament both times, and obviously winning 2 games when he's a senior, and playing in the Sweet 16. So our relationship and our bond, if you will, but our relationship is built on 2 big time years of basketball. It as I told everybody today and told the guys, our relationship has nothing to do with hoops, but when you're doing that for 2 years, right? So I was now able to go down and be at his press conference last year, and excited to be there, and just really proud of him. Now we're going to have to play against each other twice.
Yeah.
And we're going to probably recruit, a couple of the same guys and go head to head. That's going to be okay. Right? It's not as much fun. When Mac was the head coach at Iowa State, and I was our coach at Northern Iowa, we played played against each other, and it's different, and it's not as much fun as all the other games. But the competitive part of it doesn't change.
Yeah.
I got a job to do at Utah State, and Ali's got a job to do at Colorado State, but our relationship will not, it will not change.
All right, just as a NCAA tournament and basketball nerd, I've got to ask.
Yeah.
Did he have the green light to take that shot?
Absolutely.
Everybody across the country saw that. It's like, no, yes. Yeah.
I'm curious what you thought when he let it go.
Oh, I was like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
You got to pull that out. Take the foul.
Yeah. So the reason, the reason I can immediately say yes, the way that unfolded, when the ball got thrown up, when Kajot threw the ball up the sideline to Ali, there was one Kansas defender that was back. We had another player on the left side of the floor that was coming into the picture. And when that defender, because he was starting to move toward Ali as he caught it, but he felt our other player that was coming down the opposite side of the floor, and he started to back up a little bit because he felt that guy. As soon as he paused and started to back up, I thought, well, this is going to be interesting, because I knew he was going to shoot it.
Yeah.
So my only thought was, okay, this is going to be interesting, and right, it's all happening in live action.
Oh yeah.
That's exactly what I'm thinking, and it didn't surprise his teammates, it didn't surprise the coaches, it didn't surprise. It may have surprised some of our fans, right? They're not at every practice, and they're not in all, but us as coaches and his teammates were not surprised.
So I know a coach in the Missouri Valley really well. He was an assistant here with Craig Smith, David Ragland.
Yeah.
And so I texted David, and I'm like, hey, what do you think of Ben? What are your thoughts? And I'm just going to read this verbatim, and you tell me what part of this you like the most. He's great. Love him. He's a great coach, down-to-earth person, incredible human being, but his teams will kick the hell out of you. I'll preface that a little bit. He'll do great there at Utah State.
Well, I appreciate that, Rags. Very similar the way I feel about Rags. If I had to pick a part of that, it would be about being a good person. And I mentioned it in the press conference. Like not that I would want a choice, but I didn't have a choice. Mom and Dad weren't. It wasn't going to work. It wasn't going to work a different way, and I'm really happy for that. For my brothers and our sister and myself, that that's the way it was going to be. You're going to treat people. You're going to treat people well. You're going to be good to people, and because that's what we should be doing.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't my mom and dad's idea. It's because that's what we should be doing. So that would be the part of what Rag said. I like that last part.
Yeah.
I like the last part, but not as much as we're gonna do the best we can to treat each other well and care about each other.
So when you build a team together, and obviously retention's huge, there's a lot of coaches, and you and I are roughly the same age. There's a lot of coaches that have been in this for decades that may be getting out because they don't like where it's at. They don't like the evolution of where college sports is right now. As a guy that's been in this for as long as you have, has it been hard to adapt to, and how do you feel like you and your staff have adapted to this new landscape?
Yeah, it was hard initially, right? And like everyone else, we had a decision to make. Are we going to continue to recruit high school players? For us, that's been the backbone of our program, and it's going to be here at Utah State. Once we made that decision, right, and it'll be the same approach here. Things got kind of back to normal and got easier pretty quick. So our formula, guys, we're going to recruit the high school players out here, and they're going to know it, and that's where it's going to start. And then we have our season, right? And the most important people in the program are the players on our team, and we're going to work like crazy to help them feel good about coming back. Right? Retention, very important to me, and we've had success there. And then we'll use the portal when we need to. Right? But the first two, the recruiting high school players that understand what Utah State is about and want to be a part of it, and they're going to take a tremendous amount of pride in it. And then when the season's done, having real conversations, right? And retention, them understanding that them coming back is the most important thing. And then using that portal when we need to. And we've had, the portal's been very good to us. We haven't had very many guys go. Yeah. But we've had openings in the spring, and we attack it with the same formula that we're recruiting the high school players. Okay? We're not going out getting into bidding wars and this guy's wow, look, he averaged this, that. Like we're attacking it the same way. Okay, and good young guys and great families and going to care about each other. So we're attacking the portal the same way we attack the high school recruiting. So it's been good to us. We've added over the last 3 years some guys that have been great fits, and it's just been awesome.
There he is, the new head coach, Ben Jacobson, at Utah State University after 20 years at Northern Iowa. All right, take a final break. Wrap this thing up next. 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
This is Mike Bolo of Lexicon Valley.
And I'm Bob Garfield. Are you one of those people who sometimes uses words?
Do you communicate or acquire information with, language?
Hey, us too. So join us on Lexicon Valley to chew over the history, culture, and many mysteries of English, plus some wisecracks.
Find us on one of those apps where people listen to podcasts.
I sold my car in Carvana last night.
Well, that's cool.
No, you don't understand. It went perfectly. Real offer, down to the penny. They're picking it up tomorrow. Nothing went wrong.
So, what's the problem?
That is the problem. Nothing in my life goes as smoothly. I'm waiting for the catch.
Maybe there's no catch.
That's exactly what a catch would want me to think.
Wow, you need to relax.
I need to knock on wood. Do we have wood? Is this table wood?
I think it's laminate.
Okay, yeah, that's good. That's close enough.
Car selling without a catch. Sell your car today on Carvana. Pickup fees may apply.